Have you ever felt so utterly starved for love, so utterly invisible in your own home, that the smallest crumb of attention from an outsider feels like an overflowing feast? That, my friends, is where my story truly begins. My name is Aisha Khan, and I was the eldest of 8 children, growing up in a house where my father, a decorated army officer to the world, was a true monster behind closed doors. His daily rages, the endless battles with my mother, the constant threats of divorce, the physical and verbal abuse, they didn't just break her spirit, they shattered mine into a million irreparable pieces. This isn't merely a tale of escaping a broken home, it's an intimate journey into what happens when you carry that profound brokenness out into the world, desperately searching for the love you never received, only to find something far more devastating. Stay with me, because this raw account of betrayal, misguided affection, and the agonizing path to self-discovery might just echo your own unspoken truth. Within the suffocating chaos of that house, I existed as a quiet observer, a mere ghost in my own nascent life. While other children found joy in friendships and carefree laughter, I retreated into myself. School offered a fleeting escape, and for a precious while, I truly excelled. I topped my classes, even earned the privilege of being a monitor. But as I grew older, the immense weight of my fractured home, the pervasive fear, the constant vigilance, began to seep into every fiber of my being. My grades, once stellar, began to slip, not due to a lack of intelligence, but because my young mind was perpetually cluttered, always on guard, replaying the echoes of shouting matches. I became an average student, my concentration fractured by an internal din. Friendships were an alien concept. I was shy, withdrawn, perpetually on edge. Yet, beneath that heavily guarded exterior lay a heart of startling innocence, quick to trust, desperately yearning for kindness. A simple smile, a few gentle words, and I would instantly think, "Ah, this person is good." I was oblivious then to how perilous that innocent trust would become, how it would ultimately lead me down a path of profound devastation, all in a desperate, unwitting pursuit of a love I had never known at home. It was during my 5th grade, when I was perhaps only 10 or 11, that the first significant crack appeared in my fragile sense of personal safety. A midterm transfer meant we moved to a new city, and my mother, anxious for me to catch up academically, enrolled me in tuition classes. The teacher was a young man, in his early 20s, the son of an army officer himself. Many other children also studied there, making it seem like a safe and normal environment. Initially, he appeared kind, dedicated to teaching. But soon, his kindness curdled into something sinister. During exam preparation, he would call me closer, whispering, "Come here, you'll concentrate better beside me." His hand, then, would subtly find its way to my thigh, lingering with a sickening touch that made my skin crawl with discomfort. I was a child, confused and terrified, but the ceaseless tension at home, the overwhelming fear of adding to my mother's already immense burdens, kept my lips sealed. I couldn't tell her. I simply could not heap more stress upon her shoulders. The shame, the confusion, the fear, they paralyzed me. I ultimately failed that 5th grade exam, not from a lack of academic ability, but because my spirit was too profoundly broken to learn. The tuition ceased, the truth remained unspoken, but the insidious feeling of defilement lingered, an invisible and silent scar etched deep within me. Years later, at the tender age of 13, while I was navigating the complexities of 8th grade, another shadow descended upon me, this time from within my own extended family. During a summer break spent at my maternal grandmother's, Nanny's, house, a cousin of my mommy, maternal aunt's husband, was also visiting. I barely exchanged words with him, maintaining my usual reserved and guarded demeanor. However, after we had returned to our city home, a letter mysteriously surfaced. It was a letter penned by him, addressed to me, found by my Kala, maternal aunt, in his pocket. A letter filled with declarations of adoration, of infatuation. The boy, utterly devoid of shame, vehemently denied its contents, claiming the name was meant for another girl from his academy. But the damage, alas, was already irrevocably done. My Kala, in her righteous fury, spread the news like wildfire throughout the entire family, even reaching the distant corners of the village. My innocent name was mercilessly dragged through the mud, branded with a public shame I had in no way earned. My own Kala, who should have been my protector, became my most damaging slanderer. My father, in his own gruff way, attempted to solve the issue, but the sting of that public humiliation, the incessant whispers and judging eyes, became yet another heavy stone weighing down my fragile heart. Then, during a subsequent visit to the village with my father, a tiny flicker of what I desperately hoped was genuine hope emerged. An elderly aunt from my mother's side, a kind and gentle soul, took a noticeable liking to me. She was sweet, perceptive, and saw something pure in me, a pretty, innocent girl, despite the recent gossip. She initiated a conversation with my mother about her son, proposing a potential match. My mother, still cautious and wary after the letter incident, clarified that the past rumors were entirely false. Yet, the aunt persisted, relentlessly. Later, back at my nanny's house, this aunt followed us. She relentlessly pressed my mother, eventually forcing a reluctant yes for her son. Before I could even comprehend what was happening, I was being led to the market, where a cheap, china gold ring was abruptly placed on my finger as an engagement token. I was utterly bewildered. "Mama, what is happening?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. She simply sighed. "He wouldn't leave me alone. I just said yes to get rid of her." But to him, to everyone else, and even to my own terribly naive heart, I was now irrevocably engaged. My fiancé, though considerably older, seemed genuinely smitten, taking my pictures from a family phone, proudly declaring me the prettiest, most innocent girl in the family. My fiancé and his family stayed for a few days, and in that brief time, we spoke occasionally. He showered me with attention, with admiration, the very things I had so desperately craved and never received in my own tumultuous home. My starved heart, aching for connection, tragically mistook this sudden influx of attention for genuine love. I was so terribly young, emotionally stunted by my harsh upbringing, and his kind words felt like a soothing balm to my raw, wounded soul. I truly believed, with every fiber of my being, that I was falling deeply in love. But fate, it seemed, had a particularly cruel twist awaiting me. During a subsequent visit to a wealthy cousin's house, my fiancé, in a moment of utterly misguided and boastful pride, showed my pictures to this cousin. "She's an army officer's daughter, the prettiest in the family, and she's mine now," he proudly declared. My cousin, however, was sharp and cunning. He casually asked to speak to me. I spoke to him respectfully, addressing him as brother, completely oblivious to the fact that he was meticulously memorizing my phone number. Soon after, messages began pouring in from him. Since neither my fiancé nor I possessed personal mobile phones, our direct communication was inherently limited. My cousin expertly exploited this crucial gap, filling it with incessant messages, heartfelt calls, and a deluge of attention. He offered precisely the things I so desperately craved: profound love, unwavering attention, genuine care, and a profound sense of security that my chaotic home had always so cruelly denied me. He proposed to me beautifully through heartfelt messages, and my utterly vulnerable heart, desperate for connection, swiftly accepted. We became inseparable, albeit in a virtual world. Every minute detail of our lives, from school dismissals to the mundane act of eating meals, became a shared conversation. Our nights were consumed by calls and messages, often stretching into the early hours of the morning, a desperate, shared attempt to fill the gaping void within us. When my fiancé eventually discovered our fervent conversations, I simply stated, it wasn't a real engagement anyway, the ring was fake. He merely offered a solitary warning, "This boy isn't right," and then, with a profound sigh, he simply faded away, his words echoing in my mind as a forgotten, unsettling prophecy. Now, my cousin and I were the talk of the town, our intense bond known to everyone in the village. For a year and a half, our love story unfolded with breathtaking intensity, consuming every waking thought. We were emotionally and intimately connected, perpetually on the verge of physical intimacy, sharing everything from the most personal details of our lives to our deepest, unspoken fears. He was my entire world, my desperate escape from the suffocating darkness of my home. But slowly, imperceptibly, the devastating shift began. He was the only son of a wealthy family, his future meticulously laid out for him. Suddenly, his mother, his demanding studies, his burgeoning career, his weighty responsibilities, they all began to take paramount importance. The man who had once showered me with unwavering attention now became perpetually busy. His mother, I later discovered, had been an ex-lover of my own father. A bitter and cruel twist of fate that added another layer of complexity to my already fractured world. I clung to him with all my might, sending endless messages and making countless calls, desperately convinced he was merely busy. Days would stretch into weeks without a single reply. A year agonizingly passed in this devastating cycle of intense connection and painful withdrawal. Then another. Our fragile relationship stretched to 3.5 years. The initial 2 years of intoxicating connection tragically giving way to 1.5 years of my desperate, agonizing suffering. He grew increasingly distant, cruelly rude, ignoring my texts for days on end, disappearing on trips, always finding time for everyone but me. The girl who was so utterly starved for love at home was now agonizingly starved for attention from the one person she truly believed loved her. My mood swung wildly. I became even angrier, more intensely moody, utterly unable to bear the ignominy of being ignored after such profound devotion. The profound sense of security he had once given me now crumbled into dust, leaving me feeling more profoundly insecure than ever before. For 2 more agonizing years, I relentlessly chased him, pursuing a mere ghost of the love we once shared, trying to comprehend why he was slowly, painfully slipping away. It took me an unbearable amount of time, 2 full years, to finally realize he was deliberately leaving me, slowly, agonizingly. After 5.5 years of this excruciatingly toxic dance, with 3.5 years of unbearable suffering, I finally mustered the unimaginable strength to cut him off. It was, without a shadow of a doubt, the hardest thing I had ever forced myself to do. It has been 7 or 8 long years since that devastating breakup. I am now 24 years old, and the girl who once dreamt so vividly of escaping her broken home is still carrying its heavy, shattered pieces. While my ex-fiancé now has a son and is moving forward with his life, and my cousin has become a successful businessman, living a comfortable existence, I remain utterly alone. The tantalizing promise of love, of unwavering attention, of genuine care, left me with even deeper, more painful scars. I grapple with profound depression, crippling anxiety, and an even more volatile temper. I haven't been able to build a career, couldn't truly move forward, trapped in the emotional wreckage of a childhood denied and a trust brutally betrayed. My story, then, is not merely about the visible monsters within the confines of a home, it's profoundly about the insidious monsters we tragically encounter outside when we are too utterly broken to see clearly, too desperately famished for affection to demand true, unadulterated love. I am still tirelessly searching for my path, still valiantly fighting the persistent echoes of a broken past. I cannot predict how long it will truly take to heal, to genuinely find myself, but of this, I am absolutely certain. I utterly refuse to let my story end here. It is an unfinished future, and I am the author of its next chapter. This journey has been long, painful, and deeply personal. If my story resonated with you, if you believe that truth needs to be spoken and that our voices deserve to be heard, then I ask for your support. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Your subscription isn't just a number, it's a profound act of solidarity. It helps me share more stories, build a community where no one feels alone, and gives me the strength to continue my own healing journey and fight for a better future. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future narratives of resilience, truth, and transformation. Thank you for listening, for understanding, and for being a part of this space. Together, we can find strength. Goodbye for now. When love and security are cruelly denied in childhood, we often seek them desperately outside, mistaking fleeting attention for genuine affection, and kind words for true care. This profound vulnerability renders us tragically susceptible to those who exploit our deepest needs. True healing does not begin by desperately finding love outside, but by courageously confronting the enduring scars within, painstakingly learning to differentiate authentic connection from its deceptive illusion, and ultimately, diligently building a profound self-love that no external force can ever diminish or take away.